Hello everybody and welcome back to Cask and Point. Today we have a very fun review. We are going to be blinding 6 of the best buff turkeys ever released and finding out what the true best buff turkey really is. So if you don't know the story behind BuffTurkey, I've done a few reviews on them already where I've talked a little bit more about them, so definitely go check those out. But essentially in 2008-2009, Wild Turkey approached Buffalo Trace and asked them to distill some of their spirits. It's unclear exactly what the motivation behind this was. It's possible that Wild Turkey was at total capacity and Buffalo Trace wasn't, and so they asked them if they could distill some of their spirits just to help them meet the demand that was skyrocketing at the time. But it's also possible it was just a totally different reason, and we just don't truly know. But there's a lot of lore behind BuffTurkey because Campari, the parent company of Wild Turkey, sat on these barrels for 15 years and only finally released them to the NDP market. And so non-distilling producers, NDPs, they went and they bought them up like crazy. And they actually bought them up, and then other smaller NDPs bought them from other NDPs. And so we've seen so many different BuffTurkey labels. Buckner's is doing BuffTurkey. Obviously, Dark Arts here is doing BuffTurkey. News is doing BuffTurkey, River Roots is doing BuffTurkey, all of the NDPs are doing BuffTurkey. And so today we're going to try 6 of them, find out what the true best BuffTurkey is. Now, a special part about this flight is that it includes 5 hazmats. Now, I believe since this set was created, there have been 1 or 2 other hazmats that have been released, but at the time this was created, this was every hazmat ever. So the first 5 hazmat BuffTurkeys, and obviously BuffTurkeys chosen earlier, usually better than BuffTurkeys chosen later, because if somebody picked it earlier, they probably tried the later barrels and just picked their favorites, and that's why they were released earlier. So possibly 6 of the best BuffTurkeys ever released to the market. Today we're going to try them, all thanks to Liquid Ministry. They do these cool little sample jars here if you haven't seen them already, and as a guy that loves his samples and has about 800 different sample jars, I definitely love using Liquid Ministry as much as possible. They're really good guys. Nax and Melissa definitely love giving them business, and they put this split together and they gave a very good and fair price on it. So I'm very excited to try this, all thanks to them. But let's get right into it here. So we have 6, as I've mentioned a few times already. We have the Heart, which is from News. This is 145.2 proof, and it was the highest BuffTurkey ever released. Now, it actually has been beaten recently, and Elkwood was released at 146 proof, making this the 2nd highest proof BuffTurkey ever, but it's still pretty high up there. Then we have Dark Arts. We have the Liquid Ministry pick, which is 141.4 proof, so far the highest proof Dark Arts pick, and we also have a 140.4 proof Dark Arts pick. So we have 2 Dark Arts hazmats in here, and Dark Arts is a little bit special because people claim that a lot of the barrels of BuffTurkey were processed through them, like somewhere between 200 and 300 barrels, and they tasted them all and picked their favorites to release under their own label. And so about 8 of them have released so far, and the minimum secondary is about $700. So just to get one is very, very difficult. Obviously, thank you so much, Liquid Ministry, for helping me get this bottle, helping me try these samples. So excited for them. But supposedly the Dark Arts are really, really good. We're going to find out if that's true. We have 3 others. We do have one that's from River Roots. That's not a hazmat, barrel 917. This has been very popular. It's 132 proof. I believe the highest proof from River Roots, or if not, really up there. And then 2 others. One is Magnolia, 141 proof. Also, again, another NDP that's done about 10 to 15 barrels of this, I believe. This is their highest proof. And then the final one is actually a New Era Bourbon Club pick. So actually, like the We Lucky Few here, and like many of the other reviews I've done so far, New Era Bourbon Club, a bourbon Discord that I'm a part of, big fan of them. They actually did a Buckner's 15 hazmat. And to my understanding, a lot of the Buckner's 15 releasing right now in the mid-high 130s are all BuffTurkey. This is the only hazmat they've released, at least so far, that is BuffTurkey. So 5 hazmat BuffTurkeys, that 1 River Roots. Let's get right into it here and find out what the best one truly is. So let's start off here with glass number 1. Oh, that's rich. Wow, very deep flavor profile on this one. A lot of plum, a lot of maraschino cherry. Typically, the BuffTurkeys that I've enjoyed have been more fruit forward with a nice oak back to them, where I do think a lot of them that are just kind of simple caramel have been a little bit uninteresting to me. And so, yeah, let's see how these turn out. Yeah, this is hot on the nose. There's a lot of oak. There's a lot of that red fruit on it that I really enjoy. Definitely a little bit of that Wild Turkey oak funk as you get really into it here. Kind of like a little bit of tobacco mixed in there. Let's take a sip. Drink's hot. Ooh, but that's really nice. In the mid palate there, it opened up to a really nice cherry candy on it. Wow, that one hits you a little bit. That is really, really nice. I think the finish on that one is about medium length, and I'll be honest, BuffTurkeys in general haven't really impressed me, and I may do another review at some point talking about it a little bit further, but in general, I found BuffTurkeys to lack complexity, and so the higher proofs, obviously like these hazmats, tend to really make up for it with all that proof, but it's still just not a pour that I would rate as even that close to something like George T. Stagg. But a video that I have in the works is going to be blinding 2 or 3 of my favorite BuffTurkeys, probably from this flight, with Russell's 15, with George T. Stagg, just to really see if they can compete, because they're nice, and some of them to me are really that Russell's 15 caliber, but George T. Stagg, even just from 2024, is just so good. It's hard to say that these are worth it. And the fact that people are paying secondary market for these, that's sometimes way above a George T. Stagg market at $600, yeah, I don't know. But this is very, very nice here. Very fruity, very rich. Definitely pretty hot though. Let's take a second sip. Oh yeah, that one's hot. It has a lot of cherry, a lot of red fruit, a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of that wild turkey oak funk to it. But that's definitely a cherry-forward BuffTurkey on that one. I like it a lot. Doesn't blow me away. I don't know if any of these today are really going to blow me away, but it might blow me away when I go back to it. So I won't speak too quickly. Let's go on to sample number 2. On the nose here, this one is much more balanced, actually. Like, we definitely have the red fruit in there. That is what I'm really looking for. But we also have caramel. We also have vanilla. We definitely have some nice oak on this one. A little bit softer on the nose. I mean, on the first one here, even just on the nose, you get so much heat there, whereas this one is a little bit more mellowed out. Wow, that is nice. Very balanced, really getting a lot of different elements here. Some citrus in there as well. Let's take a sip. Wow, compared to the first one, this one drinks so much lighter. It's actually really nice. Like, it definitely gives you the caramel, the cherry, I think like a really sweet like butterscotch on that one as well that I really do enjoy. Look, these pours for $300, I think we probably couldn't go wrong with any one of them. But when you start paying $600-700, things get serious. Now, the secondary values on the 6 bottles we have here, the River Roots is going for about $700 to my understanding. And then the other 5, the Buckners is going for about $650. You have the Heart here is going for somewhere in the $2,000 to $3,000 range if you could even find one. There were only 23 bottles. About half of those are cracked already. So the other 10 are only with so many people that are willing to give them up. So pretty much unattainable at this point. And the Liquid Ministry one, I haven't seen anybody sell one, but I've seen some people try to get one for $900, $1,000, and they've just had no luck. I know the 140.4 did go a few times at around $950, $1,000, and so we're dealing with some pretty hefty secondary markets here. The Magnolia is also probably around $900, and I think that covers all 6. So yeah, definitely some pretty serious secondary markups here. And odds are none of them are going to be worth it. But for MSRP, I'm sure we're going to find some pretty good stuff here. Let's take a second sip. It's good. Definitely like the complexity on it. I think it's a bit more complex than pour number 1. Definitely punches much less hard though. To me, this drinks like a lower proof BuffTurkey, but it gives you the caramel, the butterscotch, a little bit of toffee in there, some red fruit in there, a little bit of that wild turkey oak funk, that tobacco kind of oakiness on it. It's good. Let's go on to sample number 3. Oh, the nose on this one is nice. Good amount of sweetness on this one. More of a cherry candy than anything else. Definitely some caramel in there though. Definitely some butterscotch as well. A good amount of oak on it too, and definitely a good amount of vanilla. Now obviously I'm using pretty similar tasting notes. I mean, these are all very similar barrels at very similar proofs from the same source or distilled at the same time. Sourced by very different people though, which is funny. But the same lot of barrels. It's unclear exactly how many BuffTurkey barrels there were. I've heard one number at 588. That could be true, but that statistic also claimed that Rare Character bought 50 BuffTurkeys, and Pablo seems to really be adamant that they didn't buy any. So I don't know what to believe. There are definitely at least a few hundred, because at least a few hundred have released already. This is really nice here. Let's take a sip. Oh, this one's nice. To me, it has that richness that I got off of sample number 2, but a little bit more heat. Not as much heat as sample number 1. But again, it was the first sample. We will go back to it. We'll see if it stays that hot. Yeah, this is good. I mean, I don't know if it's Russell's 15, George T. Stagg level to me. Now, if you couldn't tell, I will be randomly interjecting throughout this video about a bunch of random facts of BuffTurkey because I've been talking about these barrels, I've been learning about these barrels, I've been very intrigued by these barrels, I want to share that information with you all. So another fun fact is that when Bruce Russell was asked about these BuffTurkeys in an interview with Mash and Drum, he said that he wasn't particularly impressed with any of them, that none of them touched Russell's 15 for him, and so they just ended up releasing them to the NDP market as opposed to their own release. And I kind of see the merit to that. I mean, obviously with that many barrels, there should be some honey barrels in there. There had to be some that are just absolutely delicious. That honestly, Bruce may have not actually tried himself, but obviously when you have all of these different NDPs trying to stick their feet into them and trying to find out what's going on, you're going to find a few that are going to be really, really nice. But even the best BuffTurkeys to me, I just think they're around that Russell's 15 caliber, and that Russell's 15 is $500 on secondary markets. And so why pay that much more for a BuffTurkey? But anyways, let's take another sip here. Let's move on. Oh yeah, definitely one of my favorites so far. This one to me has the plum, has the cherry, has a lot more tobacco than on the first two. But honestly, that adds to the complexity, so I kind of like it. And the caramel, the vanilla in there, a little bit of that butterscotch, a good amount of oak on that one. That one's good. That one is pretty well-rounded. I think pretty much as well-rounded as the second, with a lot more punch, much more akin to the first. So kind of a best of both worlds that we've seen of the first three. So let's go on to sample number 4 and see how it compares. Okay, this one is slightly lighter, but very similar flavor profile. The good BuffTurkeys, they tend to be that cherry forward, they tend to be that oak, and so far to me, these are all cherry forward, these are all pretty oaky. You really couldn't go wrong with any of them. Wow, okay, this one's good. Yeah, to me, this one has actually a little bit more oak than I've seen on the others. And the fruit is also really rich on this one. I'm getting like a blackberry, like a cooked blackberry on this. Definitely hot on the nose though. Oh, definitely as hot as one on the nose. Let's take a sip. Much lighter on the palate though. Definitely drinks under its proof. We are getting a good amount of flavor. Now, I've never been one that really loved the comment that things drink under their proof, and when everyone says this about hazmat, and it's hard to tell if that just means it drinks and tastes like 120 proof, and so why did one spend all this time trying to get a hazmat, paying extra on the secondary market for hazmat, when it's just not really giving you any of that hazmat goodness? Others have said that this is much more like you get the flavor of a hazmat without that real like punch and harshness. It is really hard to tell on these kinds of reviews. That's why I started doing my own. But this is good here. This definitely gives me the flavor of a hazmat without drinking at hazmat. So that's nice. Let's take a second sip here. Oh, that one to me is so oaky. Much oakier than the first three. Definitely some vanilla on there. You're still getting the cherry on there. I like that one a lot, actually. It's really just more unique than the others. It's not drinking like your straightforward fruit bomb. It's much more of an oak bomb, and the oak is welcome here. But anyways, let's go on to sample number 5. That's good. They're all good. Yeah, okay. So this one, to me, is definitely more of that cherry, that plum, that cooked blackberry. Not as much oak on the nose, but still quite a bit of oak on the nose here. And the color on this one's also really rich, which is cool. And I mean, the color on a lot of BuffTurkeys have been surprisingly light for 15-year-old whiskey, but I will say a few of them do get really dark, really red, almost like that red-brown kind of coloring on it, which is cool. Let's take a sip. That one to me, very light on the palate. And not necessarily in a good way. That one to me, it's oakier, a bit herbal. This one, I don't know if I like it as much as a few of the others. It is really good. It is definitely still well worth its MSRP, because the MSRP on all of these bottles would have been somewhere around $300 to $400. I know the Heart was $525, so that one is a little bit higher. But honestly, $500 for all these bottles, I get it. I think they're Russell's 15 level at least, really, with a lot of them. So good BuffTurkeys are up there. It's just, this is not a review if you are getting into BuffTurkey, if you're trying to look for BuffTurkeys and you just want any BuffTurkey, please do not take this review and go and say, oh yes, my 115 proof BuffTurkey that I found for $300, $400 isn't as good as it sounds. No, these are really meant to be specially selected of the best barrels of BuffTurkey. And so I do not think that this is a good representation of BuffTurkey. If we want to have a fair representation, this is BuffTurkey at its best. And this stuff is really good. But not $1,000 good. Let's take a second sip. Solid, solid. Definitely got a lot of that herb on the second sip. It starts off very fruity, oaky, herbal. Cloves, mint, a little bit of lavender in there. Finish is actually pretty long. It's a medium to long length, which I do enjoy. And on the second sip, it wasn't as light. I definitely got a little bit more punch in there, drinking much closer to hazmat. Definitely not drinking hazmat, but it's definitely closer. But it's good. Let's go on to sample number 6. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that is nice. Vanilla on this one is definitely the most prominent note. There's definitely some caramel on it. Some maple on it as well, which is cool. Some honey on this. If you dig deeper, you're definitely going to get into that cherry, into that wild turkey oak funk. But definitely more prominent is going to be those really sweet flavors. Like molasses on this, brown sugar, those kinds of really sweet notes on this. That is nice. Let's take a sip. Good. That's good. It's lighter than the others. It's a very pleasant flavor profile though, and a different flavor profile. So I'm really trying to pick out the differences here on 6 things that I think are overall generally pretty similar. And so obviously we've had some that are oakier like 4, some that are more tobacco forward like 3. This one is really sweet, and it's really like vanilla, brown sugar, molasses. Oh, that's nice. There's definitely the cherry and oak on there. You're going to get that on any of these, but I kind of like that this one doesn't really give you the cherry and oak bomb. This is definitely leaning into those sweet flavors a lot more, which is good. Wow, let's take a second sip here. Solid, solid, but it is drinking light. It is drinking much softer, even though the flavor profile is good. You definitely have the vanilla. You have citrus on this one as well. It's good. It's good. This is going to be a tough flight. This is going to be a bit tough to rank here. I think we're just going to have to go pretty much at random right now, give some ratings, and let's find out what the best one really is. Alrighty here, so I think from memory, 5 wasn't the best. I think this one is going to have trouble winning. So maybe I'll go back to this one, give it a rating first here. I will say though, I mean, the minimum rating I'm expecting here is an 8.3 or 8.4. I mean, these are really, really solid pours. Any of them from MSRP, even the heart for $500. I mean, these are all going to be around worth at least $500 to me. I just think that's kind of the cap of it. And to be clear, I mean, no whiskey's truly worth $500. That's a lot of money to spend on a bottle of whiskey. But if I were to spend $500 on anything, I can understand why somebody would spend it on this. But I think you're getting a little too ahead of yourself if you're paying too much more than that. Because honestly, George T. Stagg, I think, is going to crush pretty much all of these. But we're going to find out. We will do that review sometime soon here. But honestly, I want to do this review first just to figure out what the best ones really are, save some of those best ones, and then we will throw them into this blind soon with George T. Stagg, with Russell's 15, see how good they really are. Anyways, let's take this final sip here of sample number 5, and let's give it a rating. Yeah, it's hot on that third sip. Very good, very rich. Really like the dark plum, really like the cherry, really like the tobacco, the oak. Don't really love the herbal notes that come out towards the mid-late palate. And it's good, it's really good. But I have to talk negative about some of these because there has to be losers, there has to be winners. And I'm going to go ahead and rate this an 8.4. I think this one to me, neck and neck with Russell's 15. I'd probably take Russell's 15, but I think it would be really, really close. I think 8.4 is pretty fair here. I left a little bit in the glass in case we want to go back, but let's go through, let's do number 3 next. I mean, there's not really any rhyme or reason to the order that we're going to do on the second half here. They're all just so good. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, sweeter on the nose on this one. And at this point here, They're all going to get a little bit sweeter as they sit in the glass a little bit longer. The alcohol sugars really stick to the glasses. Let's take a sip. Yeah, that one, tobacco, oak. Oh, that's really nice though. The cherry candy of that one is just rich. It's just richer than what we've seen before. Oh, that's I definitely like it more than number 5. But I could see that doing pretty well in this flight. I'm going to rate that an 8.5. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that the range between last and first today is going to be pretty close. Now, 8.5 is really good. It is the highest BuffTurkey rating that I've given thus far. But let's see if anything here can beat it. And let's just see how much the difference is in this like 8.4, 8.5. See if we even get an 8.6. But just to give you an idea of how close these all are, I think we're going to have 6 samples that are going to range between 0.2, 0.3 points. So let's go back to number 4 here. Yeah, this one to me is really oaky, which is good. It's good. It's different, though. Oh, wow. Let's see. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I like it more than the other two. I like that oakiness on it. It's really oaky, though. But is it getting tannic? Is it getting No. I would take glass 3 over glass 4. But it's really tight. They're both going to get an 8.5. But that front palate is just so nice on number 4. Definitely better. But then the late palate, it gets a little bit tannic on the oak. And that tannic oak is just what's preventing it from me from really jumping in those rankings, from really getting into probably an 8.6, 8.7 range. But it's also an 8.5. It is really, really good here. So far we've rated 3, 4, and 5 here. Let's go back to sample number 2. Now, 2 and 6 were the lightest on the palate, so I would imagine one of those is probably the River Roots. But there's really no way to know. Oh, this is good. This is really good. Let's take a sip. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. It's a different flavor profile because it's more caramel, it's more butterscotch, more of those kinds of flavor notes. It's not as much of the cherry. And it's different, but do I like it more than the others? That cherry candy on 3 was special in a way that I don't think I can rate 2 above 3. But between 2 and 4, it's tight. I mean, if I could have ties here, it would make my life easier, but I'm not a coward. I don't do ties. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is also an 8.5. But, oh man, between 2 and 4... If I had to put my name on a barrel, I put my name on 2 before I put my name on 4. So I will say 2 is better, but so tight. I mean, these are like really, really tight. Let's go back to sample number 1. It's nice. It's nice. It was really hot in the beginning. It's mellowed out a little bit. Oh, this one might do pretty well. Let's take a sip. Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's really good. To me, it has that fruitiness similar to 3 and 4, but it doesn't have the tannic oak of 4. So it's automatically better than 4. But is it better than 3? 3, I liked the oakiness on 3, and I like the tobacco on 3. To me, 1 is giving you those fruity flavors. Its finish is just not nearly as long. That's its issue. I'm probably going to have to rank it second right now. Also an 8.5, to be clear. I mean, we're looking at a lot of 8.5s. Right now, 3 is probably still my winner, but it's tight. I mean, that, I could probably say that that's the winner too. Oh, man. I mean, it's just doing all the good flavors well. We might have to come back to that and might take the little tiny sip that we have left. But for now, let's go back to 6. It's good. It's a little bit more mellow. It's more of those sweet flavors. Pretty akin to number 2 here, which is interesting. Let's take a sip. That one to me is like a creamsicle. That one to me is like the orange, the vanilla. It's doing those really well. And so I would say that it's just the tannic oak really hurts 4. But I can't say that that's better than 4. Okay, so that's going to be an 8.4. I'm going to say this 5th glass is worse though. So Right now, I'm in a situation where glass number 5 is 8.4 in last, glass number 6 is 8.4 in 5th, then we have glass number 4, and then 2, and then 1 and 3 are my two favorites here. I can go either way, or 1 and 3. So tight here. I mean, 8.4s on these two, 8.5s on the rest. Like, I mean, we're really that tight. And to me, Russell's 15 is an 8.4, 8.5. So, and Joshi Sag is usually around an 8.7. So, it's going to be interesting to see, to take some of these here, compare them against those two in a video, probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Man, that's so nice here. Whatever I can get out of that, like, little bit. Let's go back to 1. I also have to think about it as, how did I think about it on the first go-around? It's not just about how it goes at the very end. It's not always about how it ends. It's also about how it starts. Let's see. I mean, I could flip a coin. I'm going to go with 3, because I think 1 is just a little bit more mellow. I like the flavor on 3. All right, so 3 is the best buff turkey I've ever had. Then 1, then 2, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 5. I think our rankings are good here. Let's spread these out a little bit more so it's more clear to you guys. So yeah, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, 5. Let's find out what we were having. All right, so let's grab our note cards here. We will check glass number 5 first. Let's get all the glasses out. In 5th here, we have the Magnolia 141. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's good, but nah, it's just not as good as the others. It's good though. It's really, really good. Glass number 6 here. Wow, this is going to be really fun. I mean, these bottles are all, like I said, the cheapest is about $700. The most expensive, about $2,000 with the heart. So, man, who knows anymore here? I mean, I'm excited to find out what everything is. In number 6 here, we have the River Roots. Yeah, 9917. Yeah, that's pretty understandable. So I thought either 2, 6, those were going to be the River Roots. They just both drank much lower than Hazmat in a way that I think the other 4 drank much closer to Hazmat. So we have a top 4 here. We have the Heart Buckners and the 2 Dark Arts. So let's check glass number 4 here. I feel like glass number 4 might disappoint me a little bit because it's just, that tannic oak is killing it, but I feel like some others may really enjoy it. That is going to be the Heart 145.2. Yeah, understandable. I mean, it's good. It's good. That tannic oak, though, it hurts a little bit, but they're good. They're good. I think I rated the Heart an 8.4 on my last review of it. Today I rated 8.5, and it was right on that cusp. So, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Our top 3 here are Buckner's 15 and 2 Dark Arts Hazmats. So, we got some good things going on here. All right, glass number 2 here is up next. Glass number 2 is going to be the Dark Arts 140.2. Okay, so our top 2 here are the NEBC Buckner's 15 and the Liquid Ministry 141.4. This is gonna be fun. I love these two so much. They're both winners in my book, but let's find out here. So in second place here, we have glass number 1, and glass number 1 is the Liquid Ministry 141.4. Okay, so our winner is the NEBC Buckner's 15. Amazing pour whiskey. I could have gone either way easily on those two. And honestly, day to day, I can easily imagine me switching that up a little bit. But wow. Okay, I mean, look, blinds don't lie here. So in conclusion, we have, in last place, we have the Magnolia, then we have the River Roots, then we have the Heart, then we have the good old, I don't remember what it is, the Dark Arts 140.2, Dark Arts 141.4, and the NEBC Buckner's 15. So that Buckner's 15 is a pretty special pour. But honestly, I mean, I think all these 3 were just so good. And honestly, like, if I had to really reflect on it a little bit further, those top 3, you couldn't go wrong with any of them. Those last 3, nah, for $900 I'd probably pass. But that's just me. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed it. We've had a little bit of we've now learned a little bit about what the best buff turkeys truly are. But with that, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.